joining me right now, Republican Senator from South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, you've seen a lot of these. You've been at a lot of them. How did it go?
I thought it was a disaster, to be honest with you. My takeaway is that Biden has no idea who Putin is. He was asked on 3 different occasions about what he said to Putin regarding, one, our election interference. He told Putin that if you're seen as interfering in our election, it will hurt your credibility and people in the world will have a bad opinion of you. You know what, President Biden? Putin could give a damn about what people think about him. He wants people to believe, if you don't do what I say or you screw with me, I will screw with your election. They ask about Navalny, the dissident who is hanging by a thread in some Russian jail. Biden's response was, if this guy dies on your watch, it will hurt your standing in the world. It will hurt your credibility.
It's crazy.
You know what? Putin is complimented when you call him a killer. How do you stay in power for 20 years in Russia? The Duma, which is their parliament, is a joke. Name one time the Supreme Court of Russia has stopped Putin from doing anything he wanted to do. Name one time the Duma stood up to Putin. So the entire democracy has collapsed in Russia. And here's what Biden doesn't understand. Putin could give a damn of what you think about him. The only thing he's going to respond to is when you threaten his power. And I saw nothing coming out of this summit threatening Putin's power.
And you know what threatened him? When Navalny, now in jail, started showing footage. His group started showing footage of how rich Vladimir Putin is while his country was starving to death, and all his oligarch buddies. And that hit to his core.
Yeah.
And they had to get that guy that poisoned him while he was on the plane. Sad, good news for the world, but bad news for Vladimir Putin. He survived. And this guy's got so much guts, he went back there to reorganize his movement, and now he sits in jail. That is no small thing. That's not a guy that's worried about his reputation. And you are right. Something else I wanted to bring you to, Senator. He said, I told Vladimir Putin about the cyber attacks. I said there are 16 sectors that should be off limits. Really? How about just stop hacking our stuff? I hope my email made the off limit of sectors not to be hacked. Was SolarWinds on the cut? Because it looks like it missed the cut.
Well, I can tell you who's probably not on the list. Fox News. It probably wasn't on Biden's list to Putin.
I know.
The bottom line here, this whole thing is absurd. I've got 16 parts of my economy that I consider to be no-go zones. Well, what about the rest of America's economy? So this thing was a disaster. And to top it off, he was asked about China and about why they won't cooperate in terms of the coronavirus investigation. Did it come out of the lab or not? And he said that China is trying really hard to be a good member of the family of nations, and if we scold them, he thinks they'll give in. China is not trying hard to be a good member of the family of nations. They're never going to let us in that lab until we make the pain so great they have to let us into the lab. So my belief is that Joe Biden, President Biden, doesn't understand what makes China and Russia tick.
Right.
You can't shame these people. You have to stand up to them and hit them where it hurts. And in Putin's case, let's let the entire world know how much he's enriched himself at the expense of the Russian people. It's there to be shown.
Yeah, I didn't know we were the #1 hackers in the world and Canada was #2. Someone should tell Justin Trudeau in his yoga class that he should that he's still trailing us. Real quick, I want you to see this. You know Joe Biden as well as anyone. You said some really nice things in the past. You guys were pretty tight. You've separated as of late. I've never seen this side of him until the last few years. Tell me what you think. As this press conference came to a close, you saw his temper flare. Watch.
What the hell? What do you do all the time? So when did I say I was confident?
You said in the next 6 months you'll be able to determine.
What I said was, let's get it straight. I said what will change their behavior is if the rest of the world reacts to them and it diminishes their standing in the world. I'm not confident of anything. I'm just stating the fact.
Dropped his coat, put on his glasses, started walking out, started answering some questions, and then later he apologized to the CNN reporter. But have you seen that side of him?
No, not really. It was a bit unnerving in the sense that Joe Biden's been in this business a long time, and you know, I'm not so sure it was the hardest question you'll ever get asked as President of the United States. But here's my takeaway. When I heard President Biden describe the way he interacted with Putin, it made me believe he doesn't understand who Putin is.
I know.
There is no way to appeal to Putin's better nature. he has no better nature. The only way you can get his attention is to put his oil and gas industry at risk and to put his personal fortune at risk. If you really want to get his attention, you need to make it about him, not about the view of him by others.
Senator, I have to go, but agreeing to let him continue with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and overruling your staff is doing nothing but emboldening Vladimir Putin. He doesn't say, wow, this guy's being nice to me. He says this guy is weak. We all know that over the last 20 years. Senator, that's why you're a lead guest. You provide great analysis, especially in international affairs. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.